You're listening to the Go Lightly Martial Hour on freedomtalkradio.net. freedomtalkradio.net.
All right, show number 274, Thursday, 26th of February 2015.
Yes.
And we've started the day off with a ripping... Anyway, bottom line is I left the iron on again this morning.
You are unbelievable.
I am unbelievable. I was thinking
I
about the
thought
Holy
you buy
See.
an iron that automatically switches off.
Well, that was my plan, but Joel went and bought another iron.
You're keeping these angels very busy from stop burning the bloody house to the ground.
Totally.
You know? It's the third time.
No, well, I left...
Like the water
purifier.
the
distiller.
Let's talk about that. But,
I know. Bloody hopeless. Anyway, so I left the iron on again this morning after replacing 2 days ago the iron because I left it on for days before anybody else used it. And it kind of burned out. I need an iron that switches off automatically.
It's called me.
Well.
Let me know when you're ironing. I'll switch it down to
It's all about the Holy See.
Holy See, right?
What was the distiller? Oh, God. Anyway. Moving right along. What are we doing today? Well, Yar's busy typing all kinds of things. And I've been in communication still with Adam and his document, Adam Yates and his marvellous document. But I want to read this to you. Now, this was posted by Rodney. It was Rodney who posted this, and it was September the 25th, 2013. So, months after Benedict recognised the reincarnate Lord Jesus Christ, Brian Leonard, Go Lightly Marshall. And Pierre must have had it on his page, or perhaps Pierre had it first and Rodney shared it. I don't know. Here we go. History records that the early Christian church believed in reincarnation and of the soul's journey back to oneness with God. Now, right here, Yar explained how that was not the case until the cross.
Yep. It's the whole idea of the damn thing, isn't it?
Yes. If you read in the reports of Pontius Pilate, those that witnessed what happened at the resurrection, they describe how they saw the ghosts of men floating up towards heaven, singing glory, hallelujah. They were released. This is the whole point. There was no road to heaven until the cross. The cross opened the way, the release of the souls that were trapped upon the earth. Call it prison planet, whatever, that the gatekeeper Alex Jones is all about. So that's what. So until the cross, there was no journeying back to be with God. This is all changed by imperial decree some 500 years plus after the death of Christ in 325 AD. The failing Roman Empire, now under Constantine's rule, could not withstand the division caused by years of hard-fought, out-of-hand arguing over doctrinal differences. He saw it not only as a threat to Christianity, but as a threat to society as well. Therefore, at the Council of Nicaea, Constantine demanded that the Christians settle their internal disagreements and become Christ-like agents who could bring new life into a troubled, beaten-down empire. Once the Nicaea Council meeting was underway, Constantine demanded that the 300 bishops make a decision by majority vote defining who Jesus Christ is. Constantine commanded them to create a creed, doctrine that all of Christianity would follow and obey, a doctrine that would be called the Nicene Creed, upheld by the Church and enforced by the Emperor. The bishops voted to make the full deity of Christ the accepted position for the Church. The Council of Nicaea voted to make the Trinity the official doctrine of the Church. There were indeed references to reincarnation in the Old and New Testaments. In AD 325, the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great, along with his mother Helena, had deleted references to reincarnation contained in the New Testament. The Second Council of Constantinople meeting in AD 553 confirmed this action and declared the concept of reincarnation a heresy. Emperor Justinian in 545 AD was able to apply the full power of Rome and his authority to stop the belief in reincarnation. He forced the ruling cardinals to draft a papal decree stating that anyone who believes that souls come from God and return to God will be punished by death. The actual decree stated, if anyone asserts the fabulous pre-existence of souls and shall assert the monstrous restoration which follows from it, let him be anathema. Then in brackets, the anathemas against Origen, attached to the decrees of the Fifth Ecumenical Council in AD 545 in Nicene and post-Nicene Fathers. The emperor was determined to eradicate the belief, even though the Pope and the Church believed in reincarnation. The fact that the doctrine of reincarnation had been a part of Christian theology for over 300 years did not sway the emperor. Origen's writings were considered heresy by important cardinals in the 6th century. Origen's teachings had been considered as profound spiritual wisdom for 3 centuries. Origen lived around 250 AD and wrote about the pre-existence of the soul and in reincarnation. He taught that the soul's very source was God and that the soul was travelling back to oneness with God via reincarnation. Emperor Justinian wanted Origen's writings and teachings to be condemned and destroyed, but Pope Vigilius refused to sign a papal decree condemning Origen's teachings on reincarnation. As a result of his disobedience, the emperor had the Pope arrested and put into jail. In 543, Justinian convoked the Fifth General Council of the Church and told the Pope he would sign whatever into doctrine, whatever the council decided. On the way there, under guard, the Pope escaped to avoid being forced to condemn Origen's writings. The emperor commanded the council to continue despite the Pope's refusal to attend. So isn't that an interesting little bit of a nugget? Now, as for the oneness travelling back to God, to clarify, by the time the revelation was given to John on the Isle of Patmos in the year 96 AD, I'm sure we've taught this before, however, do it again, it's appropriate, all souls had already lived throughout that period of time. The cross was to release those trapped in hell on the earth, make it back. This is the reconciliation, if you like, between the sin, the fall of Adam, and making it back into the realm then called the heavenly realm, or the realm of no time. To be gathered back on the earth in the resurrection, because that is what reincarnation is. It is the resurrection of the soul. By the time of 96 AD, the 96th day of the year, which was April the 6th, when the revelation was given to John, the old man, on the Isle of Patmos by the Archangel Michael, who looked exactly like the young Jesus, all souls had lived that either accepted, believed the preaching and teaching of the disciples of Jesus, and all those that had already denied. So it was already done. Now, those souls have been back on the earth, given up to 7 times. All those souls who'd lived already rejected or received the word, believed the word. If they were evil, they were given up to 7 times back on the earth. This is what the refining like silver is all about, given up to 7 times. Not 10, not 11, not 12, anything more. Given up to 7. Given up to 7 times, that's it. Until the time of the end, which is now. The time of the end of what? The time of the end for the reincarnation of the soul. God's fed up. He has a short fuse, wants it all sorted now. The judgment is already in, already made before he was resurrected upon the earth. The judgment is in. The ones who are the wicked and the evil, the same that he condemned before he went to the cross, and we all know who they are. All those lovely people.
Yes, they are nice people.
The Idumean, this is from Esau, the Idumean half-breed Pharisee.
You could say it's all parables
Babylonian.
now coming to reality. And if that's a better way of understanding. So, it said this, it said that. Well, don't care about that. Go look in the mirror. Right? There's a fair chance there's a devil looking at you.
Right. So the back to oneness with God is doesn't exist anymore. Individuals are on the earth as individual souls. They're sourced originally from God. However, after the reaping, they'll only be the righteous, and they're the ones made in his image.
That's what the Lord's Prayer is all about. Thy will be done on earth as it was in heaven. Because it was said 2,000 years ago. As it is in heaven then, the cross hadn't occurred. Now, it's occurred. So now the resurrection takes place. That's why there's many references in the Old Testament to it. Right. So naturally, by the time of the Nicene Council, the Jews were fully in control. Right? All those bishops, what do you think they were? All Pharisees. They weren't Essenes. So what did Constantine want? He just wanted
to settle all the arguments.
Settle all the arguments. He was so tired of it. So he said, right, do away with it altogether. Like, who was he to do away with anything? There's a simple rule of thumb here. If it's righteous, keep it. If it don't, throw it out. If it gives you hope, keep it. If it don't, throw it out. Resurrection, of course you're going to resurrect. That's what it's all about. What's the bloody point otherwise?
Well, the point is that all Christianity is waiting for the instantaneous resurrection of dried bones.
Christianity is Pauline Christianity. There's a big difference. Hitler had it right. He done away with all the Pauline bullshit out of the New Testament.
You're in the resurrection, folks.
That's
It's all
why
happening
Hitler had to
now.
go. That's why he's been demonised every chance they get, right? You cannot put on a newspaper, read a newspaper or a magazine or any documentary about the war without the nasty Hitler. The most demonised man, he's more demonised than I am. And I go out of my way to be demonised. He's just a nice fella, right? Even the Pope didn't like him when I talked to him.
Oh, no.
This silly bastard.
Because his family was listening to the British broadcasts. Oh, my God.
That's what he said. He listened to the British broadcast.
Oh, it was recorded in some interview or whatever.
Yeah. Unbelievable. What was it called? Radio Europe or something?
Oh, I don't know. Was the BBC around then? Would have been BBC.
Yeah, there was a special name for it at the time when they were broadcasting propaganda into Germany and all those places, in sometimes in both languages or whatever country was targeting. Right? And like the Pope, he thought England was great. They're the greatest bunch of monsters of all time.
Oh, Hitler, you mean? Thought Hitler wanted to be a friend of
the Pope.
Oh, Pope, yeah.
He thought the British were great. So did Hitler. Right? Didn't know Churchill was a fucking Jew. And all of them. Eisenhower, Jew. Eisenhower, that monster, 1.5 million men or more after the war was rounded up and put in concentration camps and weren't fed. They just allowed to die of starvation in the open. That's what Eisenhower did. Why isn't that in the archives?
And much more.
And much more.
They just...
Why isn't the 60 million killed in Russia by the communists?
Oh, it's all coming out
It's all
now.
Jews.
Yeah,
but why is it taking so long?
This is it's the freedom of the internet that they're now trying to control. There's a meeting happening today in the USA, the FCC, where they're trying to pass legislation to control the internet. It's
well, how many rumours there have been that they were going to switch it off altogether?
Yeah,
just for a test run. just see if we can do it. Well, they got a problem.
So the lightning flashing from east to west is the internet.
Of course it is. Yeah, so that's what it's all about.
Now, do you have anything else to talk about?
I've always got something to talk about.
Good, go for it then. 'Cause I'm having a rest.
Well, let's look at India. When I wrote Vatican III for the Pope, he didn't realise the ramifications of what I had in mind. And because India has been since 1993, when I first did the measurements for India and discovered that on the 20-degree latitude it was 888 miles across. And I did that with an old atlas that I had, and that's as accurate as I can get. But in actual fact, it's 888.88 miles across at the 20-degree latitude. Now, we can confirm that today by going into Google Earth, and it does appear that if you can zoom in on the beach at 20 degrees latitude, you can find the actual longitude is what you're looking for. And then go to the other side of India and zoom in and you can get it. I'm not saying it's 100% accurate, because once I have made these statements, they go and change everything. It's very easy to do on a program. Very easy. I just go and type in a few. So you might go in there and find it's supposed to be X longitude and find they've moved it over by a little bit. Right? Or they've elongated the map or shortened the map. They're very easy to do. It's all images, not a problem, right? But I already do it with the old maps, which you can go to any library and see the old maps in any atlas. And I've got atlases. Well, I had 2 atlases in particular in Canada and in Greensboro when I was doing on there. So I cross-reference atlas to make sure, because who's behind it all, right? So you've got to be very wary. But in any case, I was able to use the GPS software, and the GPS software is Magellan. It has to be right, because you can't be landing an aircraft in the dark unless you've got the GPS right, because you can put it down within a couple of feet of the centre of the runway and a couple of metres in the length of the runway, because it'll tell you the height of the aircraft. Plus, as you're coming in off-flown planes, of course, flying a plane into an airport, you can feel the cushion effect of the air-ground effect it's called. So that's why when you're putting a plane down, they'll tend to want to raise up slightly. Well, that's caused by the ground effect. Well, that's another way you can land a plane, providing you know that the GPS has got you at the end of the runway. Otherwise, the forest at the end doesn't give that ground effect. Right? So you've got a problem. If you don't feel the ground effect, like pull back. Right? However, I have done all that. I've flown planes for years, and any pilot out there knows what I'm talking about. So, so we were able, or I was able, way back in time to calculate the areas and so forth before GPS, where it was available. It may have been available commercially on at that time, but I didn't have a copy of it or knew about it for that matter. But planes were using something similar to that. So in any case, once they had the street software, and then you can go in and you can look at the stuff. Well, I've got, I think, 8 different programs of the same Magellan for each country. And that way you can determine within a few feet of one location to another. So, for example, if you've got Australia, you want to know where I lived, where I inherited the house from my mother. That'll give you the precise street, it'll give you the street number, it'll give you the front lawn, and it'll give you my mother standing out the front wagon, if you like, that accurate. Right? And then we can go over to England with another Magellan product, which is based on Europe. And you can go to the same address in Cornwall and then measure, and that's what I've done, measure between the two, and it gives me the diagonal in miles, same number as the diagonal in feet of the completed pyramid. And the completed pyramid is what it's all about, because when the capstone's in place, then you can measure it. Right? You've got to get the capstone in place, and that's me. So that also gave me the age difference between in days between myself and Charles I. So all this is all to do with the Catholic Bible that was authorised by King James. And Catholics don't realise that the Bible that the Protestant churches are using is a Catholic Bible. It's just translated from another language. New Testament, for example, is 5,000 odd translations from Latin, another 5,000 to 6,000 from Greek, and so forth. The original Gospels come from the Holy Gospels of the 12 Gospels of the Essenes. And even that has been plagiarised. The Jews have been into that as well. Because when something's translated and it's put into the internet, you've got to be very careful. Right? They will alter it if they can, or if they're too stupid to see at what point they should be altering. Because what they are afraid of is reading it and being converted. So they don't let the people read it. So the people who do read it, you will find when they start altering it, they're going to say, why are we altering this? This looks good. This is our salvation. So they don't really advertise it that much, but it has been done. And there has been sufficient alterations to the Gospel of the Holy 12, the Essene. So what we end up with then is a whole pile of confusion, intentional, and you'll always trace it out. It's like putting black salve on a skin cancer. It'll go down and root out the very last cancer cell, and you'll find it's a Jew. Now, I'm going to be selling on eBay shortly. In Australia, if you've got a four-wheel drive and you're going out in the bushes, sometimes you'll run into a kangaroo. And you've got to have a very strong steel chrome bar, sometimes aluminum, but it's got to be strong to save your vehicle, because you run into a kangaroo and he weighs 150 pounds and he's all hips, and you get that coming at you, it'll just take your car out. You hit it at 60 miles an hour, you're finished. Yeah. Right? So they call it a rhubarb. Well, I'm going to have one here for running around the various countries of the world, and we're going to call it Jewbarb. And they're open season. So you don't have to avoid. They're not as heavy as a kangaroo, and they are wearing soft clothing, so don't worry about it. Just run them down every chance you get with your kangaroo bar, called a Jewbarb, on the front. I'm just waiting for
I'm
the
thinking.
to stop.
Well, I'm thinking about in the USA they have bull bars. Now,
Well, that's bullshit bars, yeah. So they have a lot of those in America. You know what? I've seen this in America. They have bloody longhorn on the front of a Cadillac.
Yes.
These bloody longhorn things, 6 foot wide or more, of real horns off a cow, off a bull. Right? Do you imagine driving along and hitting someone walking across a road? Right? They're only safe to use around synagogues.
Speaking of bulls, and thinking about the black that our Swedge wear, there's
Now, all
Enoch.
I was going to talk a little bit about India. I think I've forgotten where I'm at. What happens with with all the churches of the world will eventually adopt this because the Pope, I've told him this is what I want. But the target is India. Why? Well, very, very few Jews there. They have no influence whatsoever. Right? They're into trading and all that kind of shit that they get into. But overall, we've got 1 billion people that are primarily of the Hindu faith. A couple of Muslims and so forth. So any church that you wanted to go into, let's say you're a starving untouchable, because they're very racist, these people, you know.
Oh yeah, it's the caste system.
Well, the caste system. You could be walking down the street, must be come from the Jews, because if you see an untouchable coming towards you, who is by karma being punished for his previous life, and that is his children as well. That is why they're starving and non-educated and so forth, and dressed in filthy rags. Well, the reality is they're the people I'm interested in.
Yes.
All right? So, let's say they're Hindu anyhow. The idea being is that if you go to a Catholic church in the future, it'll be a place of refuge, as it should be and always has been. It'll be a place of welfare. In other words, you'll be fed. It'll be a place of employment, because all the unions, which we've got to have unions, will be set up. All of the businesses and the monetary system will be manufactured straight out of the Vatican. The Vatican will own any business that's set up, and you want to get free financing for it, well, the church is going to own 51% of it. And they're going to have administrators overlooking what you're doing in your business. So you make a few shekels, then the church makes a few shekels. So what happens is people will go, doesn't matter what your religion is. Right? I don't care. You're all wrong. Right? So if you are Christian and you go to a Christian church in India, a Catholic church of course, you can participate in all of the goodies. You'll have a health program, you'll have a schooling program for your kiddies, and a welfare if you can't work. A lot of people are ill and they can't work. Well, you get welfare anyhow. Because the monetary system, money is based on what I say it's worth, not what the Jews say it's worth. Like, who do you want to be in charge of the money? Right? Me. Right? So I'll take a few shekels for myself. I'll have my own printing press, of course. If I want to buy a new car, I'll print up a few dollars, no worries.
Just like you.
But seriously speaking, the idea is to invite people to come in and join the church, and all you've got to do to participate is sit through half hour of the Gospels. There'll be no preaching of Paul and no preaching of the Old Testament. It'll be simply Gospels, what Jesus said. That's it. End of story. That is. It's like you're going into a club, you know, where we go to our clubs and you've got these little cards there and you get a free coffee every 6 coffee.
Yes.
A bit like that. You'll have your little card with you and the priest will stamp it. So, right, you've been to your little listening to the Gospels today? Right? Yes, right, give it a stamp. Now you can go cash it in and they'll exchange it for money. Right? Or whatever you need. So the work, employment, employees, unions, health, all under our supervision of what to use. No pharmaceutical products whatsoever, unless they actually work. I mean, that's the strange thing. You've got to allow for it, because one might work. You never know.
In
all
Egypt,
hospitals and so forth.
In Egypt, while we were there, there is that pharmaceutical company that is based on all totally organic and botanicals. And they produce...
In Egypt?
In Egypt, yes. It was that marvellous man who started it all.
It's they haven't killed him, but anyhow.
Well, yeah.
Not enough Jews in Egypt again. But in any case, that's just what's going on in Egypt, so it's a very, very good thing. Can you imagine how powerful it would be if Jesus behind it? Right? So that's what India is all about, because the people there are looking for God in the flesh. Now, take whatever the particular cult that they follow. You've got Krishna, which is supposed to be on an island 7,000 odd years ago, and then the flood came and wiped it all out. So to cover that city has been rediscovered. It is off the coast, off the north-west side. And
Dwarka.
Right, Dwarka. And it is down. You can go down there with scuba gear, so the water level of the earth range, because of all the water poured onto the Earth from Mars raised sea level up to about 168 feet worldwide. So it flooded out the coastal areas. Well, that's Quackers down the drain, right, so to speak. But now they've rediscovered it. So that goes into their myth of Krishna having a battle with the aliens or whatever, that ray guns and all this sort of stuff and atomic weapons. It's all in modern. If you said 100 years ago, I wouldn't know what you're talking about. But now it's, look at this, it's in there, we've got to read that. And it becomes folklore that there was all this kind of things going on. Then the other myth is that Krishna is south of Delhi, where he was born.
Mathura.
Right? But it's thousands of years apart. So there's another cult got him down there. And at one, he's the 10th incarnation of God in the flesh, another one is the 11th. And he had a bit of a problem, he didn't know how to kill himself. So what he didn't realise was that the soles of his feet, now get this is very careful, that's why you wear shoes all the time, right? The soles of your feet, if you get a spear in that, will kill you. And that's what happened. A hunter who found a bit of iron on a beach, pounded it into a spearhead or a arrowhead, and he walked into the jungle, and there was this, what appeared to be a fawn, laying there against a tree. So it was wearing yellow. So he fired an arrow and hit Krishna in the foot, and that's what killed him. But Krishna, as he's laying there gasping and he's dying, he forgave the guy. He said, look, it's the only way I can get out of here. So God himself got killed by having an arrow of iron in his foot. That makes a lot of sense, really, when you think about it. So here we go again. Now that's either the 10th or the 11th incarnation. I don't know. I keep on reading this bullshit.
One of them was the 9th.
I get overcome with all this bullshit because I don't really want to remember it. Right? It's just utter. It offends me so much. Right? It's so stupid. However, the people who believe that particular cult can have a separate section of the church divided from the people that believe of the 7,000-year-old cult. Right? Now, they all, ironically, are looking for God in the flesh coming back, because that is what both of them have in common. Right? Now, we've experienced that with another lunatic we met over in Fiji.
Yes. Our Hindu holy man, Raj.
Right? Mad as a hatter, but he was a high priest of some sort.
Well, he called himself a holy man.
He was a holy man, right? And angels did speak to him.
Yeah.
Right?
That's why he came down to see us.
So, okay, so as limited as he has in his spiritual advancement, he was, in fact, played a good balalaika or whatever the other thing was.
Oh, yeah.
Thing with keys, right? And he was so happy, right, that he had found God on the earth that he wanted me to buy him another little thing out.
So he could go around from village
so he could go to village
to
village, plonking away on this stupid thing, right, saying, I've met God. Right? Use the old one you got. Right?
Don't use one at all, just go and tell.
Just go tell you silly bastard. You don't have meetings, just walk up and down the street and talk to every Indian you come across.
Anyway.
Anyhow, that's the story of dealing with very low mentalities of these people. So, the same reflects in India. You have people come in there, they're all dolled up and they've got marks on their forehead, they look like this, they look like that, and well, that's fair enough. That's your little section over there. But don't go over there because they're the Muslims, right? But however, your children can all go to the ice cream parlour around the corner, that way church will own, of course, and you can have as much as you want to eat, and in it will be colloidal silver and all this lovely stuff, right? Icicles and whatever. So we're after the kids. I don't give a damn about the elders because they're all nuts, right? But that's the whole idea behind India. So we're going over there to have a look just to see how dumb they are. And I have been to Colombo and they're pretty dumb. So, yet, for every 100 people born in India, one's a genius. So figure that out. So they become a genius of stupidity. You don't have to be a genius to be all-knowing. You can be a genius because you have the mental ability to be able to do things, right? So if you get indoctrinated with bullshit, you'll be a genius of bullshit. My brother was that. Yeah, that is a genius of bullshit. Very, very clever man. Fully demonised and bullshit artist.
So what are we expecting from India? Nothing.
Well, the very place that we're going to stay at is 5624 miles from here, is it? Or nautical miles, or from where I was born, something like that.
5624, yeah.
A special number anyhow. So, and
now,
when we get there, the reason you found it, because of divine, I don't interfere, as you know. I just let you go, like,
Yes.
you're the little white horse, and I say, go, get out. And off you go, right? Yeah. So I just sit back and cruise, and then you come back with the info, then I do the numbers on it, and we got the sacred part of it.
Yeah.
But you said you chose it because of the Last Supper photograph on these people's walls. So obviously they're Catholics or Christians.
Well,
probably Catholic.
Well, wait on. Hold the fort. Yeah, because there's many places to choose from. And I read other profiles too. Oh, this would be good, blah, blah, and all the rest of it. However, there are actually two things about this place. And they advertised it, a young couple, private apartment, they advertised it as minimalist, meaning no clutter. And they had a Banksy. Now, you'll know what a Banksy print is above their minimalist white couch. And I knew who Banksy was because he's the graph artist that's famous. Everybody knows who Banksy is today, except I'll explain it to him, but anyway. And then we switch over to the...
I take umbrage with this.
So this is a young Indian couple. So we're going to be walking into their domain, and they're hip and all the rest of it, and they really enjoy life, love playing sports, etc. And they know who Banksy is. And admire him. But over on their dining section, above the dining table, was a print of Da Vinci's Last Supper. So I go, hello, hello, hello. What have we got here?
Well, you can see the significance. So here we are. You find that, and there's lovely people.
Yes.
Very clean and neat.
Yeah. Just
give us a room for a couple of bucks a day, not that much. And on the wall they've got the Last Supper.
The Last Supper.
And that's what we've been yapping on about. And it is 5624 miles.
Yes, that's what it turned out to be. So from
here.
Yeah. This is it. This is the one I say, this is where we're going to stay. And then measures only after they said yes, they have to accept. And once they accepted, because then we had the address, then that's 5624.
It was either from here or from where I was born, one or the other. It's probably miles. Could be nautical miles, but probably miles.
Miles, yeah.
India's not that far from
No, it isn't that.
Yeah, so that's how I do things. Always have. I never prejudge, or except you're a fucking Jew, of course, but anyone else, I don't prejudge. And did I say a fucking Jew or not?
Yes, you did.
Anyhow, I didn't say anything about anyone else. I'm sort of lost for words now. I'm going back to my Jew bar on the front of the vehicle.
So it's no longer Jew bar lawn, it's Jew bar on the vehicle.
I do. There is one I'll be reproducing. I'll have a site in it as well.
Oh, a site, yes.
Yeah. So you've got to line it up. Do you know that even if you fainted, you'd still hit it? That's the whole point. I'm dreaming at the moment. I'm visualising it. I've got a very good imagination.
I know you do.
What was I talking about?
India, 5624. Now, for those of you...
you don't need Jew bars over there.
No,
that's the whole point.
For those of you...
So don't go into business in them. Yeah. You can manufacture by all means in India and export them. That's different.
Now,
the church will do that.
All right, hello, just reminding what 5624 is. That's the word count in the James Strong's Concordance for the Greek New Testament. So we're talking about the New Testament and this manuscript, this document greater than the Magna Carta that Adam's been working on, is all about the contract of the New Testament having come to...
What you can say about India, if nothing else, is that number is 3050 less than the Hebrew Old Testament count. Right? So what that means is that the Greek dictionary, Strong's Concordance of 5624 words, is missing the 3050 words, which means jar. Right? And jar, therefore, is missing from the New Testament intentionally because it's got all this bullshit of Paul in there. Right? And Hitler was right.
Yes.
So India is the same way. We end up with the same number when we go there. Why? Because God isn't in India either. It's probably the less people in the world to have God.
Mm.
Right? There's only 18 million Catholics, and they're all bullshitted into the Pauline epistles as well.
Mm.
So the only time God's going to arrive there was once before when I went to Colombo.
Mm.
Right? So now we're going back and just chill out, meet some friends over there. I'm not going to be particularly doing anything. You're just going to let it happen. Whatever happens, happens, right?
Mm.
That's how we always operate in here.
Yes.
Like when I found you, for example.
He does that to bait me because it was I who found him.
Who put it up on the internet?
Well,
as
Toby,
the lure?
yes. That was it, and that was on a date in time.
Yeah, my
Before, 20 years ago.
Rhiannon's birthday.
That's right.
And I didn't do it for that reason. I didn't even know it because I didn't want to wish her a happy birthday
right.
now because she's a bastard of a person.
Right. But this was, at that point in time, was the JCDC part of the DVD that was playing out in my life.
I feel like singing.
The JCDC part of the DVD, yeah. 2000. It began in November the 4th, 2006, and continued through to about
The JC is Jesus Christ, the DC is David Clues.
That's right, and it's a play on the rock band.
It took me nearly 7 years to figure out what that meant.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a play on the name of it's Australian rock band, isn't it? ACDC.
ACDC is the Australian
right. Well,
rock
I
band,
didn't
which
know.
is into all sorts of satanic crap.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that. I just know it
They
was
do make some good music now.
Well, anyway, bottom line is a rock band named ACDC, and
ACDC means also bisexual.
does it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't even know
Well,
that.
I'm ACDC.
I didn't know that. Anyway, JC, Jesus Christ. DC, David Clues comes into where I meet him on the 4th of November, which was the open house at my mother's apartment in Balmain. It was open because she was putting it on the market for sale. And I had said, who is going to walk into... Because I was looking for the Christ on the earth, could have been anybody, walk in the door. What happened, it wasn't him, but just as I met the angel, after I met Al the angel, 2007, so the JCDC part of the DVD had finished months before I met Al the angel, but I had all the clues. So here we go with David Clues, heavily under the influence of Michael, hello, and information pouring in once the two of us began
Because he is mentally
conversing.
ill.
Oh, totally mentally ill. But he
That's
was...
a good thing about someone who's mentally ill. They can blurt things out that are coming from within them, they don't know why.
Yeah, totally. Well, David didn't have a clue. He just knew, and it's just one of those super sensitive souls. Now, he was called bipolar. You've been classified as bipolar. I've been labelled bipolar, whatever, because we're happy. Happy people.
Bipolar,
the bipolar goes to the other one.
Well, bipolar means that you swing back and forwards between very, very manic depressed or very, very happy.
Well, I've never been depressed.
Right? So I've
I
always been
can
happy.
be quiet. Yeah.
Right? I've always been happy.
That's right, so have I.
Matter of fact, when they locked me up in the Forensic Institute in Canada, there was a report done to me. This man is too happy for his circumstances. I was curing people left, right and centre. They had to get rid of me because I was running out of customers. I kept on getting them and said, look, tell the silly bastards what they want to know, right? And take your tablets and go. Because all mentally ill people who are locked up in forensic institutes, they fight and fight and fight. And they won't listen. They think that everyone's trying to get them, which they are. So I said, well, outsmart them. Take the pills. Actually, it might help some of them. And agree with them. I'm feeling better now. I'm taking my pills. Right? The next thing, they go before a board and you're out of there. I emptied the place. So they had to get rid of me.
Well, so did David. Well, and David's... there were parallels going on here. As a matter of fact, it turned out it was all about the bloodline. That's what he was looking for, his own bloodline, which came from France.
Yeah.
And there was a connection. Your stepbrother at the time, James, the one that was thrown off the roof. They murdered him.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so this connection that gave me information, because as it turned out, it was all about me and I didn't know it. I'm still thinking it was about Mary, but it was for me.
Well, it's part of the delusion, isn't it?
It is, and just part of it, because I never entertained to be... I just thought I was the one that did all the work, get things done.
By the way, we left the iron on.
I did this morning. We already did. We've been through this. We opened up the show with me leaving the iron on.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's still on.
Well, Joel was the last one to use it.
I better go check.
So, no, Joel always turns things off. he's the safety security man. It's me that ruins everything. Oh my goodness.
I think we'll buy a time clock today that you plug in the wall. And you plug the iron into it. I'll tape it on so you
don't we have one anyway? Somewhere?
Well, maybe we'll make sure we got...
We'll get one from Flash Harry's. Yeah, what a good idea.
Make sure.
Yes. Yeah, we will.
You are.
Because I am bloody hopeless like that. I always have been. My mind just gets, I was thinking about the Holy See.
I've been amazed how your IQ is so high, yet you're so stupid sometimes.
Oh, I forget to turn everything off. Yep, totally. Just get it on, get it going, and then...
Walk away and forget.
Walk away and completely forget, because I was thinking about the Holy See. Again. I got up last night, got to come downstairs. Why do they call it the Holy See? And then the reference, the pure in heart, that was the promise, Jesus speaking, Matthew 5:8. One of the Beatitudes. The pure in heart shall see God. What does it mean? Well, they will see him, they will recognise him when we're all gathered on the earth in the resurrection, and
one of the key points, you've got to be able to switch irons off.
Yeah. See God in the Shroud of Turin, compare it to the photograph of Brian and go lightly, Marshall, blatantly obvious for the pure in heart, which is what Benedict is, and is why Francis will not come to the party. He is not pure in heart, he cannot see God. End of story. So he's not fit to occupy the Holy See, because he's blind. Anyway, it's, look at the time, I've got to go. No matter what's going on. We're going to cut the show short. Have you got anything else to... We were way over time.
If you want to give it a miss, that's fine.
Well, I've got to go. I have an appointment. I have to go. So we'll be back later, Gators. It was an hour and a half yesterday, so we're 12 minutes short today. So
12 minutes,
that's nothing. All right. Later, Gators. Bye.
Bye.